Hello and welcome to today's Pick a Card. We are going to take a look today at how can you get closer to Spirit. So we are going to take a look at what might be blocking you from being in communication with Spirit, what might be holding you back from hearing, seeing, understanding clearly. Oh, okay. I know you are invested, but sorry, that was my cat. Dex. He clearly wants to be part of this reading, but we're going to just not do that. Okay, sorry. We have 3 piles, started off with an oracle card each. I will be pulling the rest of the cards in the reading, and let me show you, I actually enhanced today's pick a card with some rocks. These are all rocks that I have found. This is pile 1. Rocks that I've found in various places of the planet. This is kind of like a quartz. And these are the colors that we have with pile 1. Some blues and lilac. So we'll try and get a feel if these are calling you. And then we have pile 2. This is your beautiful rock. Again, I would probably assume a quartz. Kind of looks like a tiny iceberg. Or like sugar. And these beautiful colors. Some greens and teals almost. And then we have pile 3, a smooth oval rock, and some yellows and ochre colors, mustard brown, gothic gold, Belgian waffle. That sounds delicious. Okay, so take a moment, take these in. Oh, sorry if it's getting a little darker in here right now. It is raining outside. It's lovely weather, but it is a little bit gloomy. So I'm going to give you a moment to take these in, and then you can find your pile and the timestamps in the description below. I'll see you at your reading. Hi, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. If you chose this lovely rock, which I think looks kind of like a flame, and these blues and lilacs, I'm going to put these, I'm going to have to squeeze them under. Put these up here so you know you're in the right spot. And we're going to put the rock right here and put the oracle up here for now. We're going to take a look at that towards the end. So we are taking a look at what might be in your way currently from connecting to Spirit. Let me take this deck. So how can you get closer to Spirit? We're going to pull just a few tarot cards, and this is more of my abstract tarot deck. And then we're going to probably pull a whole bunch of oracle cards. How can you get closer to Spirit? Or what is blocking you? Let's see what comes out. Pile 1. Okay, we immediately have 2 bird images coming up. Okay, so I feel like there is a request here from Spirit for you to soften up. I think you've recently gone through a transformation of a type. You've gone through a reignition, and I think you were kind of like in fight or flight mode. And it feels like Spirit is wanting you to ease up. You've definitely gone through a cycle. This is the World card and represented by the Phoenix here. You've gone through a cycle, and now there's a moment for you to ease up on the tension, because this is we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Lovers, and the Wheel of Fortune. There's an ask for you to enjoy. There's an ask for you to embrace, and to be grateful. Really employ gratitude. I'm also getting here that you may get some messages through music. I think water is important. So whether that is taking baths or showers or steam, drinking water with intention, setting intention over the water that you drink. There's definitely an ask to focus somehow on song lyrics, lyra, lyrics and water somehow. It might even be listening to music in the shower, as literal as that. There's also an ask here to appreciate the, I'm hearing appreciate the family you've been given. And another bird. We have expression, confidence, and communication. They definitely want you to speak. I mean, hearing a bird, they possibly want you to sing, but in any case, they want you to speak. I'm not sure if they want you to speak to them or speak to others. I get this feeling of possibly speaking about the cycle that you've recently gone through and what you've learned from that, speaking about that to others. And I am getting, again, this idea that there is some form of leadership, meaning some form of direction from music. There's some very sweet cards. Some very sweet energies that are coming out, and I think it has a lot to do with asking you to really be in a state of gratitude. I think Spirit has actually provided some forms of security for you that you might be taking for granted. And again, at the bottom of the deck, we have more birds. There is definitely this feeling of, yeah, I feel like I think there's a strong sense here of taking something for granted and not really appreciating. And it might even be that, because we're asking how can you get closer to Spirit, I think it might be that you are actually taking for granted how much they are appearing and how audible they are. And you are not quite hearing it. And I think, because at the bottom of the deck, We have this swan and this eagle fighting. And this is the Five of Wands. It feels like there's like this noise, like there might be some noise in your mind that is acting like static and therefore kind of drowning out the more beautiful aspects of your life that you're not quite. You need to focus on those. There's a lot of support that you have, and I think you're kind of used to it, so you don't quite see the beauty of it. I'm going to pull some emotion cards and see what might be blocking you from communicating with spirit. Focus, yep. There's this idea that there's so much noise going on that you're not focused enough on the beauty of things, and this is actually asking you to possibly meditate more so you can train your focus and create more attention towards gratitude. I'm also hearing perhaps a gratitude journal, focusing on gratitude via a journal. No? Disoriented, speaking again to the noise. And frustrated. And I think you're feeling frustrated because you're not able to make heads or tails out of this noise, which it feels like it's like there's all this noise and you're focused on like trying to listen to all of it when that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to take it all in. You need to get to a place where you can denoise what you're hearing. And I'm getting strongly from Spirit that in your case, this will be done through gratitude, through really taking stock of what you have achieved, what you have gained in your life. I really am feeling too like there's this ask of you to work with your throat chakra and perhaps like speak to them, and I'm feeling like perhaps speak to Spirit about what you are grateful for. Sometimes they want a little sweet talking too, you know. They don't just want to hear from you when you need something. Access clear thinking. Wow. Again, focus. Access clear thinking. Yeah, there's just like a lot of noise going on. I'm going to get some advice on that in the end, how you can try and become more focused. Let's see. One card fell to the ground. Examine your integrity. And I think examine your integrity has a lot to do with getting the sense of, you know, I'm sure you feel like you are grateful for all the wonderful things that you have in your life. But are you showing that gratitude? I'm sure that when you think about it in fleeting moments, you're like, oh yeah, of course I'm grateful for that. But are you showing that gratitude? Is that gratitude felt and received by others? Let's get another one from this deck. What is blocking you from communicating clearly with Spirit. Lantern, consciousness is light. Consciousness is light. I think this again speaks to attention, because consciousness is attention. And where we put our attention is where we are conscious. I think your attention is very split off right now. And Lantern, again, is asking for focus. This is such a repetitive message, but I mean, it's nice to get that confirmation. I'm going to pull one more of these, and then we're going to see what that oracle card from the beginning is, and then we're going to pull some advice. I'm going to get some advice on how you can regain focus. Call on Archangel Jophiel. The Archangel of Beautiful Thoughts can help you think in enlightening ways. There's definitely a lot of focus on regaining control of your thought process. And especially because it says beautiful thoughts. The Archangel Jophiel, the Archangel of Beautiful Thoughts, which again is gratitude. Embrace your growth. A weed is but an unloved flower. Embrace your growth. Which is this, what I said in the beginning, this progress that you've made. I think you've gone through this cycle, and there's really this seeing these two women here in this imagery, and it feels like one is taking the other by the hand. It's like there's this invitation to show gratitude and to speak gratitude. I kind of feel like they want you to just they want you to tell them how grateful you are, and it's not to bolster up themselves. It's not like Spirit is yeah, tell me how great I am because I'm giving you all these things, but it's about you really seeing how much you've been given. And as I say that, seeing, her eyes are covered, she has her eyes closed, and she has her eyes closed. They want you to see. Let's take a look at this card now. Invocation. Yeah, invocation is really about speaking about the things that you are grateful for and the things that you still desire, but it's about calling in what you desire, but at the same time you are being asked to really practice gratitude a lot. That's very strong. Practice gratitude and vocal gratitude. They want to hear you. They want to hear you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this was helpful. And, oh wait, I was going to pull some advice. I'm sorry. Let me pull some advice on how you can, manage your focus. Let's get some advice on how to manage your focus. I think they want you to take to take stock of which direction your mind wanders often. When it does wander, where does it go? And then follow it. Like, don't be harsh on yourself because you're not able to control it, but follow it. Follow wherever it wanders and just take stock. Just take notice of where your mind wanders to. And once you've let it wander in each and every direction, I think you'll be able to understand. The Empress has a very like bird's eye view. There will be this understanding of, oh wow, I've never really noticed this waterfall in the background. And this kind of works very well with what I was just saying, because it's like, let those thoughts flow and just follow them. Don't be so judgmental that you're having a hard time focusing. Just let them flow and see where they lead you. So in this case, do go chasing waterfalls. But don't go chasing them. Just go observing them and see where they lead you. And I think perhaps like wanting to control the thoughts is really kind of what's keeping you hindered, especially if you're trying to connect with spirit and let's say you're trying to meditate and then your mind starts wandering and you're like, stop it, mind, and you pull it back and you try to shut it up, right? Because you think that that's what focus is and that's what meditation is. When in reality, like especially if you're meditating for the purpose of communicating with spirit, you want to explore where your mind goes. You want to explore because it feels like your focus, your want to focus is actually limiting you. And so Spirit is asking you to let your mind wander and just follow it. And things might not make sense, but if you follow it and lean into it, you might get to a point where then suddenly things start making sense. And I can confirm this from the way that I received channeled messages oftentimes. In the beginning, nothing made sense to me. And it wasn't until I started leaning into the process and following, instead of being confused at every image that they give me, I would get so confused and just it wasn't until I allowed the confusion that I would allow them to unfold something. And I'm getting right now too, let's say you're starting a new book. The author wrote the book in a way that keeps you hooked. You are supposed to read the whole book. You're not supposed to know what happens in the middle or in the end of the book by the time that you've read the first 5 pages. So the story has to unfold naturally. Spirit is asking you to follow the things that you might not understand, because at some point you will. You definitely will. And they're asking you to trust and to be grateful for the things that you've already been given. Because it's a lot. You've been given a lot of things. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this made sense to you. And I hope it was helpful and confirmed a few things. And as always, thank you for being on this journey with me, and I hope to read for you again soon. Bye. Hi, Pal 2. If you chose this cute little white iceberg rock, this is your reading. Here are the greens you chose. Beautiful. We're going to put these up here. along with your oracle card for now. We're going to check that out towards the end of the reading. We're going to pull some tarot cards first. So again, we are taking a look today at how you can get closer to spirit. So this might talk about some blockages that you're experiencing, or just advice on how to connect more with spirit. So let's take a look for pile 2. I'm getting immediately this sense of self-care, nourishing yourself, and having some fun. Not being so hard on yourself. You have there's a lot of skill that you either already have or that you're in the process of attaining. And I think Spirit wants you to kind of loosen up a little bit and not like be so critical. It feels like you have a lot of expectations in your abilities or in the support. And look at this. This is always like this sea creature that is rearing its ugly head, but having it right underneath this guy just makes it seem like it's not that evil. It's just a goofy little creature, especially because they both have their tongues out. That's so funny. This feels very much like the whole vibe I'm getting here is very much like wanting to be a ferocious, like skilled master at something, and just kind of, you know, when in The Lion King, when Simba is trying to roar and he's trying to sound like super intimidating because the hyenas are like trying to get him, and it just comes out like a little cat. Like, rawr. That's kind of what I'm getting. This is the vibe that I'm getting. But you are, and especially because I hear now, I'm working on my roar. You are working on your roar, and I think you have a lot of expectations in your roar. Just the same way that Simba, like there's a lot of expectations in him, right? There's, like, he's supposed to be the next king. But look at the bottom of the deck. I think Spirit just wants you to have a little bit more fun with your practice. And it seems like you're very serious about this, which is good. Like it's good to be serious in your devotion, but I think either your higher self or your spirit team, they have a little bit of a goofy side to them, and I think they want you to embrace that as well. There's definitely this feeling of, I get the sense that you want to just like, you want to master everything and all at once. But it doesn't quite work that way, and that's okay. Like, I'm also now getting this sense of, and I'm sorry because I'm really not too well versed in this world, but I'm getting this image of Harry Potter, Hermione, possibly, like just this idea of like in the early books or movies. I didn't read the book, sorry. I did watch the movies, but like in the early movies, like you know, when they're still new at Hogwarts and they want to know everything because they know there's so much to learn. And I think Hermione at some point kind of gets in over her head because she's so eager and so serious. This is totally Hermione energy. Wow. Somebody is really like wanting to, isn't that a thing too in the movies? Like one of them is like, when can we study the dark arts or something like that? I don't know. So this makes sense to somebody for sure, but this feels very much like somebody being like, I want to get through the basics so I can study the dark arts. Like, look at how dark it gets over here. But I think this is actually not so much, this is not beneficial. Like, this is going to bite you in the behind. Like, there's this scorpion attacking him here. Like, if you get in over your head too soon, you'll feel ungrounded, and you'll get really kind of like, you see how this bird is kind of caught in a net. You'll get kind of distracted and just very ungrounded. You definitely have the energy of a leader and of finding your way through situations, so you're very capable. But they just, I don't know, there's definitely just this idea that you're taking it so serious, and that's kind of, I feel like that's hindering you in a sense. It's like forcing it too much and not embracing surrender. Spirit doesn't like it when you, like, that is definitely one of the early lessons in spirituality, is embracing surrender. And any time that you think you've surrendered enough, there's still more to surrender. Surrendering is a lifelong process. And I think that's definitely a blockage here, is not being able to surrender and wanting to control, almost like wanting to control the conversation between you and Spirit. And Spirit is not a fan of that. They will put you in your place if that's something that you're trying to do. Afraid. This feels like anger. These are root issues, and in wanting to push something along is definitely like a root issue as well, root chakra. And optimistic. Optimistic, this feels very much like, yeah, I can do it. Like we have self-critical at the bottom. This feels so much like, I can do it. Like, just let me do it. And it feels like afraid because you're afraid to give up control. Anger. I think there might be, take this if it applies, but there might be an issue around motivation. Like, why are you trying to do certain things? Especially when I'm looking at these cards, like and again, because I heard earlier, like, when do we get to the dark arts? It just feels like the process of surrender has a lot to do with acknowledging your motivation as well. So in terms of like, how can you get closer to Spirit, definitely I'm seeing here surrender and taking things, just lightening up a little bit, not taking things so serious. I think you are very skilled. You will be very skilled. It's just about like not taking yourself so serious, really. Let's get radical curiosity, seeing as if for the first time every time. This is exactly what I am talking about, because especially because this girl is a child, And that's why it's a radical curiosity. Children are so curious and they don't take themselves too serious. There's this energy of seeing as if for the first time is having a beginner's attitude, having a beginner's mind, which is a concept from meditation as well. Just not feeling like, okay, yeah, I've learned this process, I've learned this and this and this, so now I have to go to the next step. Like, no, you're always, technically, you're always a beginner, especially when it comes to spirituality. You need to surrender to the fact of thinking of it in levels. You need to surrender to the fact that you're always going through another lesson. You're always receiving another lesson. Seeing as if for the first time, I think, also has a lot to do with this goofiness that they're trying to get you to embrace, this silliness lightening up, because you might miss. It's like if you're just focusing on like the powerful and strong aspects that you're feeling drawn to, it's kind of like seeing the world through colored shades, and everything looks really dark, and they want you to realize like you just have really dark shades on. You need to take off your glasses, because you'll see there's so much more magic around you than you're actually recognizing at this point in time. That is beautiful. I think you definitely are very, you have a lot of potential for really receiving a lot of communication from Spirit, but they want you to just dial down the expectation. It's almost like having, when there's children that are like tested early on and they're like genius children, and then by the time that they're teenagers, it's like they've heard that their genius is so much that they like just completely lose focus and they start rebelling. That's kind of like the sense that I'm getting here. And again, Hermione, like, this is very much Hermione energy, like just this expectation, and also this expectation in herself of performing and acquiring. Examine your integrity. This is interesting because I just got this in the last reading as well, and I'm getting a similar vibe of check your motivations, examine your integrity, make sure that you're doing that the path you're on is a path of integrity, and that your motivations are pure. Because I'm telling you, if your motivations are not pure, Spirit is not going to support you. They do not. They won't let you. I'm hearing this part of a song that says, I won't kill you, but I'll watch you die. And this is, please don't. Like, that's not a death threat or anything, but that's kind of like it's like they won't necessarily cause obstacles for you. If your motivations aren't pure, it's not that Spirit will cause obstacles for you, but you will cause obstacles for yourself, and they'll watch you fail. Versus if your motivations are pure, you might still cause obstacles for yourself, but Spirit will support you. And I'm not trying to come from like a high horse here. It's difficult to make sure that your integrity is intact, and that you are not acting from ego, especially in your spiritual practice. It takes humility, and I'm saying this not because I'm so great, I've figured it all out, but because Spirit has badgered me. Like, Spirit has beaten me down. So I've paid my dues. Embrace meditation. Yeah, this is I definitely felt like this energy of like pushing, like I want to get to this point. When can we do this? When can we get here? And Spirit is asking you to embrace meditation, meaning embrace stillness, embrace the present moment, embrace surrendering. That's what it keeps coming back to. I'm also getting, wow, I think you're like, you definitely are very, it's like you hold a lot of potential, because these images I'm getting, I mean, Simba, Hermione, and then right now I was getting Luke Skywalker. Like the way that, you know, when he learns, or Luke Skywalker, and even Anakin, like when they learn about the Force and how it's so easy to slip into the dark side, and how you really have to practice self-control and all of these things. This is definitely like coming to the forefront of my mind, which is very interesting, because it just tells me that you hold a lot of potential, and I think Spirit is really excited about that potential, but they also know that it takes extra care, because they want to make sure that you use it correctly, because you're gonna figure it out with or without, you know, you're gonna figure out how to use your power, but they really are trying to make sure you use it for the best possible reasons. Oh my goodness. Sow kindness, reap love. To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. Sow kindness. This is very much, I'm not trying to make it sound like you are being called to the dark side. Rise up at the bottom of the deck. The human body is vapor materialized by sunshine mixed with the life of the stars. It's not like I'm not trying to make it sound like you're like an evil person or on the brink of being an evil person. Absolutely not. I think this is just more about practicing humility because you are so powerful. I think that's just in general with people that are very powerful, even like outside of fictional characters. I don't know why I'm only thinking of fictional characters at this point in time, but there's a great deal of people that are very powerful, and it takes a lot of humility to not abuse power. So that is a message for everyone, not just for those that are tempted by it. Even if you're not tempted at all, I think it still is important to say these things, because you are very powerful. Okay, I want to take a look at your oracle card up here, release. I think this has a lot to do with, look at the dark colors, and this bird versus this bird being like held by this. I think this has a lot to do with releasing the strenuous expectations that you have set on yourself, releasing this idea that you have to get to a certain point. I want to get just a couple more cards for advice on how to move forward, because the idea was, how can you get more in contact, how can you get closer with Spirit? I think we answered a lot of that in terms of, practice humility, be gentler, practice more curiosity, be gentler with yourself, be a little bit goofier. But I want to get some last advice for you. Oh, yes. Yep. So kind. Oh my God. Sow kindness, reap love. This is literally, wow. This is literally what the card says. Sow kindness, reap love. Yeah. Did you hear that? My cat agreed. And then this Justice and the Emperor. The Emperor, this is your energy. You have so much potential. You're so powerful, but you need to be responsible and you need to be humble. You need to exercise great strength, and you really need to surrender to the process. Again, I'm just seeing Luke Skywalker like training in the swamps, and Yoda is just like being a pain in his ass, you know, and being so obnoxious. And that's exactly this vibe that I'm getting from this card, like this obnoxious energy. And Spirit will do that. If you take your spiritual path too serious, they're gonna be obnoxious, and they're gonna try and break you down to make you feel kind of silly. So try and just take it all with a little bit of a lighter side. Change those dark shades to some rose-colored glasses for a little while. Just try it on for a change. So I'm going to leave it there. I think you have definitely great abilities, and you just need some patience, and Spirit is definitely excited about your progress. And again, embrace meditation and make sure that you stay true to yourself above all. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I hope it clarified a few things for you. Thank you for letting me join you on this journey, and I hope to read for you again soon. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose this beautiful, smooth, oval rock, can you hear how smooth it is? I don't know why I felt like doing that. And these yellow ochre tones. The cat is having a scratch on the carpet. This is your reading. I'm going to put these right up here. We're going to leave the oracle card for the end of the reading, and then we're going to start off with some tarot. And we are taking a look at how you can get closer to Spirit. How can you open up communication? How can you resolve blocks? Anything like that. We are going to take a look right now. And as I'm saying this, it's still raining outside, but there is a bird sitting on the fence with a long tail feathers that are dark and white stripes, and I just felt like telling you that. So, oh, and now it's gone. Let's see, how can you get closer to Spirit? I think Spirit wants you to acknowledge the evolution that you've been through, the changes that you have gone through. There's a lot that I think you've already acquired and gained in terms of wisdom and knowledge, and things that have really built you up. We have the Strength card here, and there's a lot that you have. Yep, and here's a card definitely representing wisdom. You gained a lot. And they want you to really examine that. We have the Hermit that just came out underneath this Ace of Swords. They want you to really examine what you have learned so far. And the fact that what you specifically have done on your own. And there's this awareness that you have gained through conflict. You've gained awareness through conflict, and you really persevered through it. This almost feels like you changed in a sense, and you're seeing things differently. And I don't think it might feel like your environment is being... It might feel like your environment is being harsh on you, but that's because you have changed and your environment is reacting. When we don't change, our environment doesn't change either. Your environment is changing because it is reacting to your change. And Spirit is asking you to acknowledge the journey that you have gone through because of conflict, what you have gained from conflict, and how much stronger and how strong your survival instincts are. But I'm finding this interesting because we asked, how can you get closer to them? And it almost feels like they're saying, don't you see what you've done on your own? Like, if it feels like, why are you asking us for support? Don't you see what you've already accomplished? Which is interesting. This is very interesting. Yeah, even the cards at the bottom of the deck, we have incubation, and then we have the Empress. It's just very like, look at what you've accomplished, look at what you've made. But it's not like they weren't along for the ride, because look at this imagery right here. We have this eye, which is you taking on under a microscope situations that you've been through and energy sources that you've connected to. And then there's these little angels that are like holding the microscope. They definitely orchestrated situations for you to be able to recognize certain things. And then even this is like a very interesting depiction of the Hermit card, because it's more about the constellation in this case, which is Canis Major, like the big dog. And so the Hermit, the explorer taking the journey in this card, is this woman sitting on this great big dog. So even though it is a solitary journey, in this case, in the original card, you have the lantern. In this case, there's this great spiritual creature that is definitely her companion throughout this. So I feel like Spirit has definitely been around you in a more silent way. And so that is to say that if you are asking, how can I get closer to Spirit? I think Spirit is right there watching you like a hawk. I think they are very close. I just think that they never felt, well, not that they never felt the need to intervene. They likely have intervened in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think they felt the need to make themselves seen or heard, because they wanted you to realize how much of this is your progress. That your progress isn't dependent on their influence. That you are an incredibly strong and you're an incredibly strong, and I'm just getting like perseverance and endurance and these words, but I'm trying to say it in a way that it fits with the word person. You're an incredibly strong person who is very, very, wow, I just can't, I can't even put it right. I'm not sure what's the issue there. So let's move on and take a look at what emotional blocks might be in the way of you. Like I said, we were looking at how can you get closer to Spirit, and I think the main point that they're making here is like, what do you mean closer? We're right here. We're like literally right next to you. Which is awesome. But if you are looking for that feedback, if you want to be in communication with them, you know, what is holding you back emotionally? What might be blocking you? Doubt. Yeah, because you don't see, because you feel like you don't have evidence of it, you feel like it's not there, which is not the case. Guilt. I think it's interesting how this came out and it's green, and this is really kind of connecting with this green in here. This feels like feeling guilty perhaps for, okay, I'm getting a lot of different things at once. I got perhaps feeling guilty for your doubt, for not believing, feeling guilt for not deserving support for whatever reason. This can be a lot of, this is like a lot of different, this is like noise in my brain right now. This is just noise, and I think it is in your brain as well. Like, it might not even be rooted in anything that makes sense. You're just feeling guilty for some reason. And again, this could have to do with the fact that you're changing and your environment is reacting, and so your environment reacting is causing you some guilt. Because people don't like it when other people change. But you have to. Like, you're basically, like, imagine if the caterpillar never changed into a butterfly just because the neighborhood wouldn't like it. Like, what? No. There's grief for like the loss of an old comfortable situation. Grief over perhaps the loss of support. It does definitely feel like you don't feel like you have support, and yet I feel Spirit very strong. Like, I feel like they're literally like right behind me right now, and just like, we're right here. Like, duh. Where else would we be? Let's pull one of these oracle cards. Again, we're taking a look at how can you be closer to Spirit, what might be blocking you. Lantern. I just got this in another reading as well. Consciousness is light. This feels, and then at the bottom of the deck we have perspective. A calm and clear mind is free to see differently. Consciousness is light, and yet she has these lanterns in her, on her arms, and yet her eyes are blinded. blindfolded. And so this feels like you being like, okay, well, I don't feel supported because I don't see the light. First of all, the light is right there. She just can't see it because she's blindfolded. The light is right there. But then second of all, look at her hair. She is the light. And her dress, this woman is light. And this feels like you being like, well, I don't see where the supposed support is because I don't see the light. Yeah. You don't see it. You are it. And you're blinding. And this light also is showing me that you are in a mode of action, which is like this progress that you've been making. You know what? Everybody else got one of these. I'm going to give you another one because I don't know why. It just feels right. Wow, look at this is like basically the opposite of that card. It says confusion, whereas this one, consciousness, is light, and then this one says confusion. Growth hurts, heals, and harnesses a way through the uncertainty. This is a beautiful match because this is what you feel like, and you're like, yeah, I have some people that support me. Like, I have a little bit of light in my life. But this is more reality. You have support and you are support. That's incredible. Okay, I'm going to pull these next. I'm going to get some tarot cards at the end to get some advice on how you can feel more supported. Whoops. Learn from karma. Oh my goodness. Those went flying, and that was more than I wanted. Where'd they go? There's one here, and one here. Experience rebirth, which is very much this evolution card that we saw here, and learn from karma is also experiencing rebirth. Like, this also ties into the evolution, because learning from karma means understanding experiences that you've gone through and understanding the lesson, taking it with you, taking whether you lost or won, whatever karmic situation you may have been through, it's still taking what you are able to gain from that situation, which is wisdom and knowledge, and taking that, processing it, learning from it, which I think that is something that you're definitely doing and have been doing with the Hermit card that we had and this examination card that we had. I think that's definitely something you are doing, and Spirit is really proud of you for that experience, rebirth. And then we have reverse disassociation. So this is a card, this disassociation, I think, has to do with this idea of like you feeling like you don't have this support when clearly it's right there, it's right around you, and it is within you. This is reverse disassociation. You disassociated from perhaps Spirit. And it's like they're saying you don't have to do anything necessarily to receive. You just have to change your perspective. Like, you're just not hearing us. You're not, and I don't know why I said hear. but that's what I got right now, is you're not hearing us. But that doesn't mean that you're not receiving their support. It's also, I'm getting the sense of you might not need to actively hear or see them right now, because right now the focus is on you strengthening yourself, but also your self-worth. Awakening. Every star was once darker than the night before it awoke. This was a process of awakening. And perhaps because you're now awake, you're like, okay, but I want to like have clear communication with spirit. And I think you are in a place of still kind of developing. And I just feel like the clear communication at this point isn't necessary. Like, I think you're at a stage, and I'm going back to the caterpillar and the butterfly situation, like the caterpillar wouldn't try to fly until it comes out of its cocoon with wings, you know? Authenticity is sweet. I used to be a thing. I am a person now. So this is really talking about, like, I think they really want you to work and embrace your sense of self. Quench your thirst for celestial knowledge, stargaze by a telescope, or travel to an observatory. Yeah, I do think that you have like this pull to connect with the universe. And that's totally fine, but don't be frustrated if you don't, like, it's like the universe is right there to respond, but I think you are kind of still, you're kind of at a point in your journey where you're expecting a grand gesture so that you can, like, clearly receive them. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this right. It feels like you don't know their language quite yet, and because of that you don't hear it at all, if that makes sense. Let's take a look at your oracle card. Support. My goodness, I'm telling you, they are right there. Literally, isn't that what I said? They're like right behind you. They are right there. You are so supported, and I think that is something that you're struggling with, is you're not feeling supported. But I'm here to tell you that you are so supported, and just because you're not, you know, just because they're not screaming in your ear, or you're not seeing ghosts in your room or anything like that at night, like, that doesn't mean that they're not right there. I think you're just not, in your journey, I think you're not at a point yet where you are able to receive. I think it would be more confusing for you to receive at this point in time. And so they're telling you, like, you're doing great, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're evolving, we're right there with you, and when you are ready to receive, we will be here to communicate with you. But they are right there. How can you work on feeling more supported? Let's get this one. Yeah, this is all about, like, addressing your insecurities, addressing where the pain comes from, and really, like, examining it harshly, examination, so you are working towards that, so you can work towards your stability, really taking a hard look at where is the pain coming from, where's it coming from, and then addressing it, processing it, so that you can gain some stability, and this knowledge will give you strength, and then in turn stability. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I think that you are extremely supported, and I hope you know that, and I hope that this reading confirms that for you. I hope you feel it. I hope you physically feel it. You can always take a moment at night when you meditate, before you go to bed, anything like that, to show some gratitude for the support and ask for signs. If you really need them, you know, they will start coming to you. But know that even if you don't receive the grand gesture that you're looking for, even if you don't feel like you're seeing the light, remember that you are the light. Okay? Thank you so much for having me on this journey with you. I hope to read for you again soon, and take care.